What's up, people? My name is James Blissett, professional gambler and founder of Lucrative MMA, which is my handicapping service where I help people make money from betting on MMA. And that's the goal every single week. And that's the goal with this video. I'm going to try and help you make money from betting on Max Holloway versus Arnold Allen. That's the main event going down this weekend. I believe it's at UFC Kansas City. So I don't think we've been there for a very long time. So it's going to be interesting. Going to see how it all plays out. The card is actually pretty appealing to me as a gambler. To me as a fan, it's fairly appealing. It's all right. It's decent. To me as a gambler, it's very appealing. I like this card. You know, matter of fact, as a fan, it is a very good card. And as a gambler, it's an even better card. I already have 3 money line bets locked in. I'm looking to lock in multiple more bets after this stream. I'm going to actually bet them myself and send them out to my members. I'm going to try and get you paid, man. That's what I try and do every single week. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, and if you haven't already subscribed to my handicapping service, because the amount of units we win, the amount of units we have won over the last 4 years is almost unmatched in the whole of the sports betting industry. And the best thing about my handicapping service is that you can check all of my record on betmma.tips. I'm third-party tracked, so I cannot fake my record. And I'm actually doing a lot of upgrades to the website and a lot of upgrades to my handicapping service. The sun's coming in right now, so you can see bad lighting right now. But I'm doing a lot of upgrades to my service. So if you can hear me, if you can't hear me, let me know, because I've got a new mic and yesterday it wasn't working. So hopefully it's working today. But yeah, I just want to touch on the amount of upgrades I'm doing to my handicapping service. I've got a lot of stuff coming. So at the moment, with my handicapping service, I give you my official betting picks. And people have made a lot of money from my official betting picks, right? Man, this sun is going crazy here. Jesus, you know what? Let me just switch up the lighting, boys. I'm going to be back in 1 second. All right. That's better. Jesus Christ. Why didn't I do that from the start? You see, New Zealand, where I live, is crazy, right? It's like, it'll be raining, storm, and then like 10 minutes later, it will be sun like that, just beaming through. So you never know what to expect. But as I was saying, we've won tons of money over the last 4 years. You know, I've won an insane amount of money from MMA betting, and my members have as well. The people who sign up for my picks have made hundreds of thousands of dollars. A lot of them specifically have told me they have made that amount. A lot of them have made tens of thousands of dollars. And a lot of people, you know, are making grands every single week. But I'm getting a lot of updates on my website. So it's the best time to join me now, because you're going to get a lot of more of content. So over the next few days, I'm going to be adding a new membership tier. At the moment, my current membership tier, I just give my official betting picks. But with the new membership tier, I'm going to be giving my official betting picks. But I'm also going to be giving official betting picks for all the regionals, you know, so any bets I have on the regional scene, you'll be able to get those as well. I'm also going to be giving my best parlay pieces for every single event. You know, if there's certain money lines or certain prop bets that I like as parlay pieces, I'm going to be including that as well. I'm also going to be giving my best prop bets on the event. You know, whether we bet them or we haven't bet them, I'm going to be giving the best prop bets of the entire event. And I'm also going to be giving out my official betting leans. So maybe, you know, oftentimes there's bets that I'm very close to making, like Gilbert Burns via decision, for example. I was very close to making that this weekend. I was going back and forth on the under 2.5, over 2.5. And then I was like, you know what, Gilbert Burns decision plus 160 is good. These are the type of bets that I will be posting as my official betting leans, even if they don't make it to my official betting picks, which Gilbert Burns decision didn't. On top of that, I'm going to be adding a group chat function, personalized betting advice for everybody who signs up to this tier. So there's a lot in store. If you sign up to my website now, then you will have the chance to upgrade and get all of the new content coming through. And I think in about 48 hours, I will have all of that updated on the website, right? So yeah, it's the best time to join. We earn a lot of money. I'm third-party tracked, so I cannot fake my record. As I say, I've got glowing reviews throughout the industry. And come and join, make money with us. If you don't want to do that, I'm still going to be putting out free content from time to time. I still put out tons of free content on my YouTube channel. And that's what I'm doing right now, you know. So we'll get straight into it. I'm really looking forward to this fight. Max Holloway versus Arnold Allen. This fight is a banger. You know, I like Arnold Allen because I remember when he was minus 110. He was a pick'em. I think I actually got him at plus 100 against Sodiq Yusuff. And it was like prospect versus prospect. This was about 2 years ago. It was prospect versus prospect. And, you know, a lot of people were on the Sodiq Yusuff side. A lot of people were on the Arnold Allen side. And I ended up going with Arnold Allen, right? And he won that fight, right? He won the fight cleanly, 30-27, 29-28. Now, I'm not going to lie. It was a little bit sketchy at times. You know, Arnold Allen kind of won the fight off knockdowns. If it wasn't a knockdown, then, or if Arnold Allen didn't get his knockdowns, he maybe not have won that fight. But as I always say, we don't know. Maybe he would have, because if you think about, you know, a lot of people are saying the same thing with the Kelvin Gastelum versus Chris Curtis fight. Or if Kelvin didn't headbutt him, he wouldn't have won. Well, the thing is, like, the headbutt caused the drop, and then he pounded away from behind, right? Or he got on top, and then he started hitting him with lots of shots. Now, that took a lot of energy out of Kelvin, right? And it also changed the dynamic of the fight. As soon as Chris Curtis got back up to his feet, he was like, well, I've got to win this round back. And he just unloaded everything. If he didn't get knocked down, he may not have unloaded everything like he did in that second round, right? So we don't know the dynamic of the fight. We don't know what would have happened if something didn't happen. We just don't know, right? So it's very hard to say this would have happened, that would have happened. So yeah, it looks on the surface to someone who hasn't gambled for their whole life and understands different iterations of fights and how certain things can sway fights. It looks on the surface as if, like, yeah, if Arnold Allen didn't get those knockdowns, he would have lost the fight. But it's not as simple as that, right? Because the fight may have played out slightly differently if he didn't get those knockdowns. But overall, Sodiq Yusuff was the one landed a little bit more volume. He definitely had the pace and pressure. He was moving Arnold Allen forward. You know, I watched it earlier this morning, and he was pushing Arnold against the cage. Arnold didn't do that well of keeping his back against the cage for the majority of the fight. He did a much better job of that in the Calvin Kattar fight. But what I will say is that Sodiq Yusuff has more power than Calvin Kattar, I think. And just his presence in general, it's more of a domineering presence in the octagon. He pushes forward. He's quite aggressive. Whereas Calvin Kattar is a little, even though he's a very good boxer, he is a little bit more relaxed. He is a little bit more conservative, you know, with his energy, whereas Sodiq Yusuff is just like pushing forward all fight. So I don't blame Arnold Allen too much for that one. But yeah, you know, I like Arnold Allen, especially for that fight. He's a Londoner. Oh, I'm not sure. I think he's from London. He's definitely from the UK. I think he trains out there with Leon Edwards as well. You know, but I think he's actually from London originally. So, you know, I like Arnold Allen a lot. You know, I'm from London. He's from London. Always support my hometown Londoners for the most part. And I like the guy in general. You know, won me that fight on, won me a lot of money against Sodiq Yusuff. But I don't let my liking for a fighter determine how I bet, because I actually bet against him versus Dan Hooker. You know, I thought taking a massive step up in competition. I thought Hooker would be able to kind of match him with the volume and just take over round 3, 4, and 5. Now, it just so happened that Hooker didn't have a good weight cut. I mean, he took one shot and he basically got rocked, whereas Hooker's known for having an iron chin. And it's just not his weight class. He went straight back up to lightweight after. He hasn't fought a featherweight since. And it just wasn't a good look, wasn't a good bet. He got absolutely smashed. Arnold Allen run through him. Round 1 knockout. You know, we move. And then I actually tried to fade him again with Calvin Kattar. And Calvin Kattar blew out his knee, man. I mean, the fight was like 50-50 up until he randomly blew out his knee, trying to do a flying knee. He tried to do a flying switch knee, right? Landed on, you know, landed incorrectly, landed like on his heel. His knee blew out, fell to the ground. Arnold Allen jumped on top of him, won the round because his knee blew out. Then the strangest thing about it, I've had many knee injuries over my career, so I can understand, you know, like I understand how strange knee injuries can be. Sometimes they can feel all right and then they just go, right? You can't even feel it. Or sometimes they're the worst pain you've ever felt. So it was strange because in the Calvin Kattar fight, he was fine. He got back up to his feet. He was like, oh, bouncing. He was bouncing around like that in front of Herb Dean. And I was like, I think it was Herb Dean. Pretty sure it was Herb. And then I was like, oh, well, you know, maybe he's fine. You know, I had a bet on him. So I was like, oh, he's fine. You know, he's going to come back. He's going to maybe take over the fight like I thought he was round 4-5. That's really why I bet on him. One of the big reasons was because I thought it's going to be competitive early. He can compete early and he's just going to take over in 3, 4, and 5. And obviously, he looked completely fine. Came out for the second round. Doctor looked at him. Doctor was like, yeah, you're fine. Came out for the second round. Arnold Allen kicked him in one leg and his other knee popped, which was the knee that originally popped. But like Arnold didn't even kick that same knee. He kicked the other knee and the knee just popped. So obviously the knee was in a bad way. I don't know what happened to it. Like, I haven't looked it up, you know, recently. And I can't remember whether like it was an ACL tear or MCL or a meniscus or something. But it was a knee injury and he lost it. And it was quite funny because there was a lot of people on Twitter trying to justify Arnold Allen bet, trying to say, not justify the bet, but, you know, trying to say it was a good bet and stuff like that. And, oh, he looked good in round 1. I mean, man, it's an insane place. Twitter's an insane place, man. It was a 50-50 fight and then Qatar blew out his knee, right? So I don't take anything from that fight. I genuinely don't. Now, Arnold looked good. Like, he looked clean. He looked smooth. He looked fast. But I expected him to look clean and smooth and fast. I mean, it was literally the exact way I thought the fight would go. I thought it would be 50-50 early. It was 50-50. And then I thought Cater would take over. We'll never know if he would have. When it comes to this fight, he's fighting Max Holloway, right? And I'll just break down Max Holloway's recent run. Obviously, he's had 3 fights with Volkanovski over about 2 or 3 year period, right? Lost every single one of them. So for him, the motivation is obviously not as much as it maybe once was, because how is he going to beat this guy? He's had 3 goes and he can't beat him, right? So it's very unlikely Max Holloway is going to get another shot at the title anyway, unless he has another 2 big wins, like maybe beats Arnold Allen and maybe beats Yair again, or I don't know. Like, they're already making Yair versus Volk, right? So maybe if Yair wins, they would give Max the Yair fight. But basically, it's tough for Max right now, I would think, to be super motivated for featherweight fights, because he's just been beat by the featherweight champion 3 times. He's 0-3. And honestly, apart from that second fight, they're not close. I mean, the third fight, he got absolutely dominated, got beaten to a pulp. You know, Volk made it look very easy, even easier than the first fight. So, you know, I say that to say this. There is a potential that Max is not as motivated before, but I don't really see that from Max. I mean, it seems like Max is always kind of going to show up the same. I've never really seen Max show up looking bad. You know, I just think Volk's better than him. I don't think he showed up looking bad in any of those fights. I just think Volk's a lot better than him. I mean, when has Max shown up looking bad? The worst he's probably looked is probably the Rodriguez fight, but he still kind of dominated the fight. I mean, it was the grappling that made him win it, and we'll touch on that in a minute. We'll just go straight into it now. You know, Max Holloway, his last fight was Yair Rodriguez, right? And that was a good fight, a very, very entertaining fight. I actually had the under 4.5 rounds in that fight. And man, I watched that again yesterday. And Jesus Christ. I could not believe that 4.5 didn't hit. When I was watching it, after the first round, I'm like, this should hit already, but even if it didn't hit, this has got to hit soon, right? And then Max had him in full mount in the second round for like 2 minutes. Max took his back like 3 times in the fight. Rodriguez had an armbar for a second. Rodriguez hit Max with the craziest shots you've ever seen, spinning back fist, wheel kicks, everything. Somehow no one got finished. Insane, really. And yeah, I can't believe I didn't catch that under 4.5, but it is what it is. They were both tough guys, I guess. I thought Yair would yield. He didn't. I thought Yair would yield. I thought Yair would wilt. He didn't wilt at all, though, man. Max put that pressure on him, that pace, and Yair was the one going crazy in round 5. After looking a little bit gassed in round 4, Yair finished the fight stronger. Max finished the fight pushing Yair against the cage, but the last 30 seconds of the fight, Yair was the one finishing stronger in my eyes. He kept getting back up from takedowns. You know, Max was on top of him, and he just couldn't finish him, man. So shout out to Yair. He's going to fight for the title soon, and well-deservedly so. He put on an amazing performance against Max Holloway, in my opinion. A very, very hard fighter to look good against, and Yair did look good against him. He just lost it with the grappling, and we know that is Yair's weak suit. You know, if that was a 5-round striking fight, Yair would have won that fight, in my opinion. He really would have. Max looked good in that fight, but I do think there was a slight decline. Ever so slight, I will say that. But, I mean, he still won 4 rounds to 1. argument for 4-2, but he still won 4-1. And like, he did look good in the fight against someone that I hold in high regard. I think Yair Rodriguez is a really good fighter. I think he's really underrated. I understand that his grappling isn't the best, but I think his get-ups are decent, depending on who he's fighting. You know, he's fighting like a very powerhouse wrestler, maybe not, but against Max Holloway, he got up every single time. His grappling's not the best, but his takedown defense is pretty decent, and his striking's amazing. And just in general, you know, his jiu-jitsu is quite good. I think Yair is a good fighter. And so for Max to look that good against him, it was impressive, but I also saw a decline. This is something we have to differentiate. You can have an impressive performance, and I can still see a decline. You know, and that's kind of what I saw in the Max Holloway and Rodriguez fight. He had a really impressive performance, but I just have a sneaky suspicion that he isn't as good as he once was. But I'm not sure. But, you know, that fight leads me to believe that I'm correct. Because if you think about it, he's had a lot of wars, man. A hell of a lot of wars, right? He may be a little bit more unmotivated because of the Volkanovski fight. The Volkanovski 2 fights before that, I think it was. And, you know, it's like, is he going to come into this fight as motivated as he was after losing twice to Volkanovski? Because now he's lost a 3rd time. So yeah, he looked good in the Rodriguez fight, looked good in the Kattar fight, looked amazing in the Kattar fight. But now he's lost again to Volkanovski. Now he needs to come back again in the featherweight division again after losing for a 3rd time. You know, his last fight was the Volkanovski fight. I think I might have said his last fight was the Rodriguez fight. The last fight he won was the Rodriguez fight, but he got beat by Alexander Volkanovski, you know, about 7-8 months ago. And I'm just really interested to see how he comes back. If he comes back 80% of what he was, I think he wins against Arnold Allen, and I think he makes it look fairly easy. I honestly do. Arnold Allen's a great fighter, very slick striker, but I just think Max Holloway is too much for him at his best. I think this fight, you know, I break this fight down stylistically when they fight each other, right? How these two styles match up, how these two guys match up. I think in the striking, Arnold Allen will have some advantages early. I think he may be a little bit quicker, a little bit sharper to the punch. I think his movement is better than Max's initially early. I think he'll be able to sting Max, and Max won't be able to touch him as much. But I think Max is going to be smart. He's going to do what he always does anyway, is just put crazy pressure on Arnold, like he does to every single one of his opponents he's ever fought. And I don't think Arnold's going to be able to evade that pressure for 5 rounds. If this was a 3-round fight, I may even be playing Arnold Allen at the current line. But I think a 5-round fight dramatically changes this fight because of Arnold Allen's style and intangibles and cardio and what I've seen from him in the past. And what I've seen from him in the past is, in my opinion, he gassed out a little bit in that Sadiq Yusuff fight. You know, I'm not going to say he just completely fell off a cliff, because he didn't. An argument for him winning the 3rd round. But that was through grappling. I don't think he's just going to be able to, I mean, he didn't even take Sadiq Yusuff down really, but he was able to hold him against the cage. I don't think he's just going to be able to hold Holloway against the cage. You know, Holloway's too crafty. He's too good for that. And so I think Holloway's going to be putting the pressure on him. And as I said, in the Sadiq Yusuff fight, he looked like he gassed a little bit. In the Mads Burnell fight, yeah, he got a 3rd round finish, but he was losing that fight. He was losing a lot of minutes in that fight. Even in the Amir Khani fight, split decision, looked to get a bit tired from there. I'm just not impressed with Arnold Allen's cardio as much as I am with Holloway's cardio. And I do think that his cardio is actually a bit deficient. And Max Holloway's cardio is efficient, very, very efficient. I'd say he's probably got the best cardio in the division. You know, him or Volkanovski. Volkanovski's cardio is unbelievable as well. But I'd say Max Holloway is on the same level. And so I think Max can use his pace and his durability as a massive, massive weapon in this fight, just like he always does. And I don't think Arnold Allen has the tools or the skill sets or the intangibles to consistently offset Max's pace and pressure. I honestly don't see it. Now, if Max doesn't show up 80% of what he was, 90% of what he was, then I do think Arnold Allen could win this fight. Because I do think Arnold's going to touch him up early. You know, I do think Arnold's going to touch him up early. And I think someone said it in the chat earlier. Does Arnold Allen become the first person to KO Max Holloway? I'd say no, because I don't think Arnold Allen is this massive KO artist. And then I do think Max Holloway is this massive durability artist. You know what I mean? Like, he's got one of the best chins I've ever seen. And I'm not just going to bank on someone to get KO'd for the first time in their career against Arnold Allen. You know, like, if it was against who's featherweight and hits hard, I guess Ilia Topuria hits really hard. You know, like, I think Ilia Topuria has a better chance of KOing Max Holloway than Arnold Allen, just because I do think he hits harder. Josh Emmett, someone like that, you know. I think Arnold hits hard, but I don't think it's anything crazy. And so I don't think he's going to knock out Holloway. So then I think that if Allen wins, it's a decision. And is Allen like going to keep up with Holloway's pace and pressure for 5 rounds? Man, it's a tough ask, you know. 5 rounds is a long, long time. And you know what? It's an especially long time if you're in there with Max Holloway. It's a long time if you're in there with anybody. And imagine being in there against Max Holloway. It's like a 10-round fight, because the guy puts up numbers that other people would put up over 10 rounds. The only difference is he puts it up within 5 rounds. So basically is going to throw the same amount of volume as someone would throw in a 10-round fight. But it's 5 rounds. So like, you feel like you're in a 10-round fight, because that's how many punches are coming at you. 10 rounds worth of punches. And on top of that, the pace and pressure. Not only the volume, but just like, he's going to keep walking forward. He's going to take your best shots. And it's very hard to beat Max Holloway. Who's beat him in the last 5, 7, 8 years? 2 people. Dustin Poirier at lightweight. Big difference. Poirier's a big boy. Big boy. Big lightweight. Used to be a featherweight, but he's a big lightweight. Hurt Max Holloway. Won that fight from big moments. He didn't win that fight on pace, pressure, volume. He won that fight on big moments throughout the fight. You know, every time he touched Max, Max got wobbled, whereas Max did wobble him once, but couldn't really wobble him that much, right? Whereas Poirier could. I don't think Arnold's going to be able to do the same here, because I think Poirier has elite level cardio, and where I don't actually think Allen has elite level cardio. So that's it. That's my prediction. I think Max Holloway is going to win the fight. I think Max Holloway is going to win the fight via decision or a late stoppage. I may be poking round 4 and 5 for Max, but I also think it's one of those fights where, maybe like the Yair fight, where it just doesn't come to fruition, because, you know, Max is a finisher via pace and pressure. He's not like a one-touch artist. So when you finish someone via pace and pressure, it really has to be that their opponent wilts. And if their opponent doesn't wilt, they're going to go to decision. You know, we saw it in the Yair Rodriguez fight. You know, like, a lot of other people would have just quit. Like Jose Aldo, he just couldn't keep up with it, right? And he ended up quitting, right? And there's nothing against him. He took too much shots. You know, but I just don't know if Arnold Allen's going to quit. So I feel like you might be pulling your hair out, because Max is going to be landing like 100, 200 strikes in round 4 and round 5. But maybe Arnold doesn't go down. But I don't think it's a bad poke, round 4 and round 5. I am leaning decision, just because I do think Max is more of a decision fighter more often than not when he fights these tough guys. And I think Arnold's pretty tough. And I think Arnold's going to compete early. I don't think it's going to be a paced him from round 1 like it was in a Cater fight. Like we saw, Max Holloway should have finished Cater, man. And there's a reason he didn't, you know, because Cater's tough, he didn't quit. And Max doesn't have that one-hitter quitter to make you quit. If you're not going to wilt, if you're not going to give up from the pace and pressure, then you will survive. And Calvin Cater has a big heart, and I do think Arnold has too. But, you know, there's 2 guys swinging punches. Anything can happen. But I will say that Max Holloway wins this fight via decision. That's my official prediction. And I'm very looking forward to this fight, man. I can't wait. I'm very much looking forward to this fight. Shout out to my man Daz Files. Says hit the like to say thanks. Yes, please hit the like to say thanks, boys. And if you've got any questions for me before I shoot off, let me know. Other than that, I'll be done. So Tristan saying, top G, let's keep grinding until he's fully exonerated. Could Allen be the first person to KO Holloway? Yeah, so I answered that one. Emrad. Leonardo's saying he's scared for Max. Allen is dangerous. I don't think, I think Max will be all right, man. Max looked a lot less effective in a Rodriguez fight. I did think that he didn't look his best in that fight, like mentioned. King AJ saying, Allen by 3rd round knockout incoming. Interesting. Enrod saying, Max could be declining too many miles. Yeah. Millen saying, can you explain the handicap bet? I don't know what you mean, brother. Fight to go the distance is not a handicap. The handicap I know is like score handicap, points handicap. Fight to go distance, that would be classed as a prop bet. And what that means is the fight has to go to decision. I don't really understand your question. You're conflating two things. Daz is saying, thanks, mate. Had Burns by inside the distance. What an idiot. Yeah. Daz saying, hit the like. Yeah, already said hit the like, boys. Dylan Bet saying, I put 3.5 units on Holloway, looking to add a little bit on 4-5 decision. Yeah, I like it. 4-5 decision is good because I feel like if he finishes him, it's going to be late for the most part. And then you cover the decision as well, which is kind of what I'm leaning to. Kyrie saying, explain why Max was minus 700, but only minus what? Well, I'm not a bookie, man, so I can't. And you know, these bookies, they do some weird things, you know? They do some weird things. And that's why we are here. That's why I'm making videos. That's why we are making money, because the bookies do weird things, you know? So, yeah, he shouldn't have been minus 700 against Yair because I don't think he covered the line. Maybe he covered it with grappling, but, you know, I feel like I don't think he should be minus 700. And obviously, the reason is because I don't think people thought he was going to dominate Yair and he didn't. So, obviously, they're taking that into account. Alan's been on an amazing run. We've never seen him wilt before, really, whereas we had seen Yair. Maybe I'm thinking that. JMN saying, Max Holloway, max bet, easy money. Shout out to my man, JMN. Don't think he makes YouTube content, but everybody go follow him. He's got the Bookie Mistake group, horse racing group that I'm jumping in. I need to know how to jump in that, bro. You had the Telegram. Let me know. I meant to ask you that. Tristan saying, where do you handicap Holloway minus 175? Where do I handicap Max Holloway? Maybe like minus 200. Yeah, I think he's about 66%. Maybe like 68, 69. Maybe like minus 210, I would say, around there. Maybe. It's hard off the top of the head, but around there, I would say. So yeah, that's it, guys. I'm shooting off now. As I said, if you want to look, this is one bet that I'm giving, or not one bet, but this is one breakdown I'm giving you. If you want all of my breakdowns for every single UFC fight, then join my Telegram. The Telegram is in the link below. Join my Telegram. I give out free tips on my Telegram, and I'm actually giving a free tip for this card out on my Telegram. Join the Telegram. It's completely free, and then I'm giving you a free betting tip for this week's card on the Telegram, completely free. And I'm going to update you in 48 hours when all of my new updates are on the website. And I'm going to give you breakdowns for every single fight on the card, my predictions for every single fight on the card. Not every single fight I'll bet on, but every single different fight on the card. And we're going to have regional scene bets, Cage Warriors, PFL, and all my best parlay pieces, all my best prop bets, all my degenerate parlays, my fun parlays, my 6-7 leggers, and tons of other content on the updated membership tier. So 48 hours, that's going to be live. If you want all of my official picks and predictions without the updated membership tier, just my official bets, you can go sign up right now, lucrativemmabetting.com. And that's it, boys. Thanks for coming on. I will see you in the next video. I'll be uploading one tomorrow. As I do, I upload the video to my YouTube channel every day. So subscribe so you get notifications for them. Good luck on your bets.